Look at this. Mine's on the very bottom. Look at that.
That just means it's going to be graded last.
But I still put it in there first. That means I put it in there first. Bam! Different.
Paper, tennis, or light, and glass arms. Okay, let's get it. Let's get it through.
Dead? Nobody cares.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Shouldn't you be recording this? Because Annalise's not here.
I should. Thank you, Jevin. I already am.
Oh.
But not early enough to get that.
Okay.
What happens to writing any quadratic?
Any quadratic written as ax squared plus bx plus cu. So there's a quadratic formula, and it can be used to calculate any answer. So it would take the place of factoring, take the place of graphing, or take the place of the quadratic, the completing the square that we've been doing. Each of those have their place, and each of those are utilized at times. But this is something that's going to work every single time, no matter what equation you have, whether it's irrational roots with square roots, whether it's complex roots with i's, this formula will always work. There is, let's see. There is a proof of this. If you want me to show you where this all comes from, I can take you through that, or you can just know it. Okay. So x equals the opposite of b. It's not always negative. Plus or minus the square roots of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So guess where those a's, b's, and c's come from? Your equation that they give you. ax squared plus bx plus c. So x equals opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Get it stuck in your head, get it memorized.
Nope, sing it again.
X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Jack in the box.
I love that.
What's that?
Did you get a college scholarship in choir?
No. Track.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. You went past the choir.
No. I tried out for a musical once in college, didn't get it. So, I had a small part in one play, that was fun. Okay, so x equals opposite of b plus or minus square. Do you all sing it together? Okay. Okay, ready? I don't know how to start it off, but x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There we go. So you'll need to have that memorized one way or the other, or you can just Google quadratic formula songs, and they'll probably have about a million of those.
Wait, we actually remember the song?
No, you have to remember the formula somehow.
Oh, okay, good. Because I don't want to remember that. Then stop, please.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to look at is this right here that's underneath the square root. Okay, so the b squared minus 4ac, that's inside the square root. This is going to be what's called the discriminant. Yep, we're going to be discriminating. So the value of b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant. Discriminate. We're going to discriminate with the quadratic formula. And we're going to have stereotypes, and we're going to be unpolitically correct. So what they say is D, uppercase D, the discriminant equals b squared minus 4ac. Okay. And we're going to have three options. The first is the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac, is greater than 0. It will be negative at times. Okay. So if your discriminant is greater than 0, can I have a square root of a number then? Yes. Can I plus that number and minus that number? So if you have a discriminant greater than 0, you have two real solutions.
Yeah.
So that means your graph would be something that crosses the x-axis twice. You go, a little behind on that. So you're going to have two real solutions. You know, sometimes your solutions are nice, clean numbers, and sometimes they're weird square roots. Okay? So your solutions are rational if D is a perfect square. So if D is a 1, a 4, a 9, a 16, a 25, a 36, a 49, a 64, an 81, a 100, a 121, a 144, a 169, a 196, a 225, a 256, any of those. Okay? If it is a perfect square, you're going to have rational roots, which means your roots are going to be like 4, or 1/2, or 8/3, or something like that. Irrational if D is not a perfect square. Go figure that one. So if it's irrational, that means you will have a square root in your answer. Square root of 5, 3, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Any of those. Not 16.
21.
Okay. That's the first option of the discriminant. So we're going to discriminate and put them in the category of real solutions. Okay, what if D is less than 0? That can be the second one. It's going to be the third, it can be the second one. No problem. We'll just do what Caden wants here. So, if our discriminant is less than 0, what kind of numbers are less than 0? Negative numbers. And so when you take a square root of a negative, you get an I. So you get two complex roots. So you have imaginary roots all over 2a. If nothing else, that part will stick in your head. X equals opposite of b plus or minus square root. Alright, so if you're sketching a graph of like this, it would be something that doesn't physically touch the x-axis. Okay? Because you have two complex roots, they're imaginary roots. Complex numbers that would work in your equation. Yeah, if your a is negative, it'd be down here.
Wait, do you have all these notes memorized? Or you're looking them on your computer?
I'm recording. That's just recording. No, it's all up here, Josh.
What? Oh, you have them in the notes.
No, I noticed.
No, this is all just coming out of my head, Jevin. I'm serious.
Wait, do you always remember what order the lessons go in without even looking at the book? Do you know what you're teaching tomorrow?
Yeah, we're doing this tomorrow.
What are you
I
teaching
do,
after that?
well, I usually have weekly lesson plans. So
What
like,
are you teaching next year
so,
on the 32nd day of school?
well, each class is different. I'll guarantee you, you guys
During this
are,
hour.
you are different. I don't know. I may not be teaching. You are, you know, I'm not going to say whether you're better or not, but I'm just saying you're different. You're different than last year.
No, he said we were better at one point. We were like the best class at one thing on the point. It was the.
We figured out where the
Yeah.
I was.
We figured out where I was,
Yeah.
That makes us the best class.
We are further along than we were last year, so we'll leave it at that.
Oh. What were your words at keeping focus?
Okay. So, if it's negative, you have complex roots. What's the third option? Yeah, you're horrible at being focused. You know.
If D equals 0.
D equals D.
Yep. If D equals D.
Yeah.
What are you?
So what happens when the discriminant is 0? Look at the formula. If there's a 0 inside the square root.
Then it's just negative B over 2A.
It's just like no answer.
No, it's whatever the thing is squared, B squared minus 4AC.
Yeah, if that whole thing is 0. Would we have a number to plus?
No.
Would we have a number to minus?
No.
So the only number we have is the opposite of B over 2A. So how many answers do we have?
Wait,
That means you have one solution. It'd be real. It is referred to as a double root, and this is when you get a perfect square trinomial.
Ooh, that's
can't see it.
Thank you, Emily. Okay, one solution, it's a double root. That's when you get a perfect square trinomial. This is going to be one where it comes down, touches the graph, and then goes back up. It won't pass through the graph, or the x-axis. Remember, these can go down too. They can do the same thing going down.
Everything can be reversed.
It's like there's a shadow on the letters that you wrote.
Whoa.
That's so weird.
What? Why?
What in the
I don't have your cover. I don't have your cover.
What did you do?
There's an E right there.
I don't have your cover.
Double E.
Right here.
It's double E.
Huh, cool.
Double E. What is it with two lines?
There's like two hands. Whoa.
Two peanuts.
What's the A? Just steps or?
Okay, these are going to be some of the questions you'll have. So it's going to give you some. It's going to, part A is just going to say find the value of the discriminant. Part B will be to describe the number and type of roots. And they'll give you an equation such as 3x squared plus 8x plus 2 equals 0.
Wait. Why is there another dot?
I don't know why that.
Between B and E. 3D.
I don't know.
3D.
That's like really weird.
It is. It's never been like that before, has it?
No, I think
don't know.
I mean, it may have, but we didn't notice that.
It doesn't look like that on my screen.
How strange.
Oh, it might be the thingy in there.
It's probably the fog.
Or it's probably the
Really?
thingy in there.
Yeah.
It's the weather.
It's the
Probably
3-day
the thing.
fog.
There's probably the thingy in there where the projector thing is like off. or
Okay,
whatever.
hopefully this
It's
doesn't give you a
showing
headache.
two pictures.
So what's going to happen, we're going to first state, okay, A is 3, B is 8, C is 2. Make sure it equals 0, which this one does. You can't have stuff on both sides. It has to all be on the same side.
What if there is something?
You move it over. Move it over.
Or added or subtracted, whatever.
Yep.
Whatever the number.
Thank you, Miss Bowden.
What?
Okay, so D is the value of B squared minus 4 times A times C. So we're going to use these numbers to calculate what this is. So this would be 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2. I would do the multiplication parts first, so 64 minus 24. So we're going to get 40. that would be part A. Discriminant equals 40.
Hey, Dylan. I have that page, and then that page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this positive, negative, or 0? Positive. Is that a perfect square? No. So the second answer would be we have two real irrational roots. So that would be the two parts to answer that question.
We did when we did the thing with the equation, you didn't have the square root sign in it.
Okay, right now all we're looking at is discriminant. We're going to get to the rest of the formula yet. Okay.
More of a form.
No, that is the form, the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of this all over 2a. That's going to give us our answers. But right now, all I want to focus on is this discriminant. Okay? So let's say they give us 2x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. What's this? Because the discriminant is always going to be the first thing we calculate when we do the formula. Okay. 2x squared minus 6x plus 9. What does discriminant equal? And then how many roots and what kind would we have? The real roots, the two real roots are the only time you say they're rational or irrational.
The 4, you get the 4 from the front page, so it's always this.
Yep, new equation. So 2x squared minus 6x plus 9.
It like shakes everything on the table.
Yeah.
Separate
the table.
And then you pick up your pencil and work on this problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, I thought you always turned it. Huh? I thought you always made it equal up to negative.
That's going to be another part of the problem. All we're doing right now is the discriminant. So you should be getting negative 36.
Yeah!
We're not solving. I just want you to get the discriminant. Okay.
Minus.
Wait a minute, no.
Negative 6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 9.
What?
36.
Should be 36 minus 72.
Ah!
108. What? I got negative 108. How did I get negative 108?
You didn't put the negative 6 in parentheses when you squared it.
I'm supposed to do that?
Otherwise you get the wrong answer. Remember, Evan just reminded me, if you do negative 6 squared, you get negative 36. Thank you. When you do negative 6 with parentheses, this is what it should be. This is what, because this is taking the opposite of 6 squared, which is negative 36. This is taking negative 6 times negative 6, which is positive 36. This positive answer is what you want for this b squared. Okay? B squared should always be positive. B squared, be positive. Okay?
B squared shall be positive.
B squared shall be positive.
Ha!
So we got negative. This is our discriminant. So this would be part A. Discriminant equals negative 36. It's negative. So the square root of negative would end up being a complex answer. So you just put two complex roots. That means we know we have imaginary, and that one, that's all you do for that part.
How did we get, on the other page, how did we get two real complex roots?
Because it's a positive.
Because it's positive and it's not a perfect square, so it's irrational. So if you'd have gotten 36 on this one, it'd be two real rational roots. Discriminant's negative. So on your formula, this would be the square root of a negative, which results in an I.
You discriminate the negative.
16x squared plus 8x minus 1 equals 0. What's the discriminant? How many roots does it have? What kind? Oops, that's not right.
Hey, I know it.
Yeah, so the answer is 8 squared minus.
Wait,
Yeah.
I know what the answer is.
Are you getting 0 or 128?
I got 0. Add 0.
128.
I didn't do any math.
How do you get 0?
This should not be,
It's a negative 1 here for the C.
I haven't written anything down.
What is
0.
So you have 4 times 16 times negative 1 is a negative 64. So it's minus a negative 64.
Oh, okay, I get that.
Jeff, I
Okay.
think the wrong way there.
This 4 is naturally negative. Think of it as a negative 4 times 16 times negative 1. Two negatives would make it a plus sign.
oh, that's what I did wrong. I wrote 9 instead of 81.
Okay.
Wait, so it's 128?
That's why you do it on a calculator.
Wait, so it's 128?
Should be 128.
Dang it.
Okay.
My brain was
8 squared minus 4 times 16 times negative 1. You see that? You just type it in, let your calculator do it, then you don't have to think about. Guys,
Ha, I'm just going
okay. Two real, are they rational or irrational? Is that a perfect square? It's not. 121 is a perfect square, not 128.
So there's
132
Okay.
real irrational numbers.
So 2 real irrational roots.
Wait, why are they,
Is that okay?
so you said numbers in the first one, and then you said roots on the second two.
Numbers in the first one. First what?
On the first
On the
example.
first example, you said,
No, you said roots all
you
3 times.
said two real irrational numbers, and then
Nope.
the other two you said, oh, I wrote it
Maybe I
down.
said numbers, but I wrote roots, so go off of what I said.
Wait.
Can you go back? Can you go down? Ben, stop speaking.
Go down.
You.
What about it?
All right. Yes, Rachel. How many roots there are? Okay. So you have to look at your discriminant, whether it's positive, negative, or 0. So the one we just did was a positive 128. So if the discriminant is positive, you have 2 real solutions. They're rational if D is a perfect square. They're irrational if D is not a perfect square, such as 128. So we had 2 real irrational roots, or solutions, whatever. X-intercepts. See where that's coming from? So the one before, we had a discriminant of negative 36. That's negative, so there's 2 complex roots. Okay. So, yep, negative is always 2 complex. 0 is always 1 root. And then positive would be either rational or irrational. So I want you to get your laptops out, we're just going to practice this part of the formula. We're not getting to the whole solving it yet.
Khan Academy?
Yep. Because Khan Academy, you have just one little assignment. Hopefully we can get this done in the next 8-10 minutes.
Oh, we only have one assignment.
Okay. It says, what is the value? This is basically just your own practice, your own opportunity to practice. Okay? It's going to ask for the value of the discriminant and how many x-intercepts the graph has. So this one's asking a little bit different than what the book says. X-intercepts, if it's positive, it has 2. If it's 0, it has 1. If it's negative, it has 0. Because if you have complex roots, do you have any x-intercepts for a complex root? No. So if you look at those graphs,
I'm confused.
Wait.
that I drew,
This is a.
that'll tell you what you have. So if your discriminant's positive, you have 2 roots. If it's negative, you don't have any x-intercepts. You have still 2 roots, but, and then if it's 0, you have 1.
If it's negative, it doesn't touch.
Your discriminant would be 0 for that one.
If it's a 0, it only touches once.
0 is touching once.
And negative is never touching.
Wait till you do it.
Correct.
Oh.
Wait, I have a question already.
This is negative, right?
Yeah.
Oh, discriminant. What if there
Yeah.
is no number? Is that just a one?
Yeah, there's a 1 there.
Okay.
That value is the same as y. But you still have to find the value of the discriminant. Yeah.
No, it just.
Nice work. You got it right.
Okay, well, that's not right. I think I know it. Wait, what does it mean by distinct? When it says distinct,
Distinct is different. They have different roots.
0. Yeah, you got them all right.
You discriminating discriminator. Okay, what's the I with some likes?
All right, so let's take this one that we've had here. This last one we had, the 16x squared plus 8x minus 1 equals 0. And let's find the solutions. Let's finish this problem up. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
I honestly forgot that.
Okay. So we have already calculated the b squared minus 4ac. We just need to plug in these other 2 values and do some simplifying.
What was this one again?
We're doing the same one that we wrapped up with. Yep. So the opposite of b is 8, so the opposite of b would be negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 128. It's supposed to be square root now when you're finding your solutions. All over 2a would be 2 times 16.
Holy smokes, that's some math right there, if I've ever seen some math.
Okay?
Don't we have to square 120?
Now, we are going to need to get exact answers for this. Okay, sometimes they will want you to round it. Sometimes they will want the exact solutions, which means you will not just type in the square root of 128. We have to break that down. We have to simplify that.
.1035.
So the next thing we're going to do, once we substitute, this is what we did here, is we substituted. The next thing you want to do is simplify the square root of 128. So that's 64 times 2, which is a pair of 8s. I'm going to give you the shortcut on that one.
Wait,
What do we substitute?
We substituted the b, the discriminant, and the a, all in. So whenever you put numbers in for variables, you're substituting.
So next you simplify this.
So you're going to substitute in your numbers. Now you're going to simplify the square roots.
not like. Wait, can't you go lower?
Lower than 8 root 2.
Oh, no, you can't.
Square root of 2 does not have 2 of the same factor in it. All it is 1 and 2.
And then you just plug that in your calculator.
Okay? No, they want them simplified. They want exact answers. So now you simplify the fractions. Those are your outside numbers. So after you simplify the square root, you're going to look at all three numbers that are outside that square root sign. The -8, the 8, and the 32. What's a common factor between 8, and 32? Bigger. 8.
25.
So your answers would be x equals -1 plus or minus 1 root 2 over 4. So -1 minus root 2, all that divided by 4, and -1 plus root 2, all that divided by 4. Those are your exact answers. If they want decimal approximations, you would calculate that with your calculator.
This doesn't look too hard. Here's the takes forever.
I am really confused.
Yeah, I really confused about that last part. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't understand. Yeah.
Last part. I thought that way. So, if I want to simplify these three numbers right here, something has to come out of all of them.
Oh.
So, how many times does 8 go into 8?
Once.
Once. How many times does 8 go into this 8? Once. How many times does 8 go into 32? 4. So 1, 1, 4. Just, it's a fraction. Just think basic simplifying fractions. If I have 8 out of 32, that reduces down to 1/4. What's that? This one? This stuff?
That came from over there from simplifying
So
the
what
square.
equation took up a whole thing?
No, it's just the bottom. Half of mine.
Why is it a negative
Why is it a negative?
Because it was a -8 divided by 8.
Then the answer would be x1 equals -1 minus root 2 over 4, and x1 equals the other one
Yep.
plus.
A lot of times answers will start being left just like this, so you just write the plus or minus and then you write it once. Rachel, will you put that away, please? Thank you. We're doing more, don't worry.
What?
Not,
Okay.
Oh.
not more involved, but we'll do another one.
Khan Academy, page 250.
Okay. We're working on this the rest of the week. We'll do a little bit more tomorrow, and then you'll have Friday to work on this also.
Good.
I'm not here Friday. So.
Yeah.
The stuff that we decide, is that the answer, or do you type
So
that
we're not
in?
gonna get anything done.
That is the answer. If you want decimal answers, if they want to know what the decimal is, then you type that in your calculator, get the decimal. Yeah. Now, when you type this, hang on. When you type this in your calculator,
Put the first top sign.
this has to be in parentheses, or you do that addition and subtraction. Make sure that addition and subtraction happen before you divide by 4.
Right.
If you type it in like this, you're going to get a wrong answer because it's going to do this part first. Okay, so make sure that first part's in parentheses, or hit enter and then hit divided by 4.
Is there a plus minus button on the calculator that
No.
you just push in and gives you 2 answers?
You can program it to do
That
that.
would be very handy.
I didn't want to figure out how to do that.
Okay, I want.
Not telling
He
me.
just said you could.
Yeah, you can program it.
Program it.
You could program.
Yeah, I want to figure out how to program it and never.
Got time for one more? Ooh, it's gonna be close.
We have
No. Okay.
Okay.
9 plus 7x equals 7x squared. You could. I always like my x squared positive.
Wait. X equals
So move those over. So 0 equals 7x squared minus 7x minus 9.
I'm already on.
So first thing, what's your D?
It would be 49.
28 times 9.
49 minus
And a negative
it's
on it.
plus, it'll be a positive.
Mm-hmm.
No, it'll be a negative.
It'll be a positive.
How will it be a oh,
And
yeah.
here times.
It's 252.
252.
Plus 49 equals 301.
Now, if they're not asking for the number and type of roots, you don't have to write that down. But knowing that this is positive, would this graph cross the x-axis? Yeah. Cross twice. So now substitute into, man. Alright. We're not that close to finishing it. We'll keep practicing this tomorrow.
301 right there.
Yeah.
We know we can play darts.
And I dominated.